Hello everyone, welcome to Talk Wrestling here on NoDQ.com and of course the NoDQ CAW YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching this week. Let's get right into it. We've got Wrestlemania on the horizon, if you will. So I've got a series of questions that relate to Wrestlemania or Wrestlemania activities, if you will. So let's go ahead and address those. First one today comes from Ricky Lawson on Twitter. I know it's not NoDQ, but what are your thoughts on this link? And he sent me a link to what was an article regarding a possible brand extension should Shane McMahon defeat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Well, we'll talk about WrestleMania in a few weeks with Aaron and I. We'll do our prediction show, we'll do our post show, the whole thing. But if Shane does win control of Monday Night Raw, I'm on the fence about a brand extension taking place. And I'll tell you, the reason is it worked for a little while last time, but once they started, once ECW was introduced, to be honest with you, and they had to kind of do the talent exchange between Raw and ECW and SmackDown and ECW, it really watered down the whole idea of the brands being separate entities. But even when it was just Raw and SmackDown, it worked for the first 3 years, I'll say. And then, against my show, my opinion, I think it kind of got watered down a little bit with the different jumping back and forth and just the overall layout of the product in about late 2005. It really just didn't seem as organic and as flowing as the original 2002 draft and brand extension. It could work. It could work if they do it right. But do they have enough full-time active roster members right now to do a brand extension? Yes, they do. They do. Their roster is stacked right now. They just need to start bringing guys up. They need to start spreading them out. They need to start doing different storylines and detailed storylines for each guy on each show. So there's two sides to that coin there. It could work, but it also could be a big flop. This is from Daniel Allen 445 on Twitter. Hey Jeff, do you think there's any chance whatsoever of Triple H retaining at WrestleMania? And if so, how would you book it post-Mania? Again, that's a WrestleMania prediction question, but I'll address it. It's okay. No, I don't. I think it is the ultimate destiny, if you will, for Roman Reigns to ascend the mountaintop once again and reign as WWE champion. Reigns can reign. But if it were to happen that Triple H would retain, I would honestly have him retain until Seth Rollins comes back and then is able to regain what was taken from him. This is from J503. Do you think Brock will give Dean the rub at Mania to possibly feud with Roman for the title? I'd like to see Dean Ambrose have a solid showing at Mania, not just be completely annihilated. And it would be in the real possibility to have Roman and Dean clash for the championship post-WrestleMania, going into maybe SummerSlam in Brooklyn. That'd be something to see. That'd be really cool to see those two guys get that main event feud together. That'd be really awesome. All right, our old buddy Greg Cherry, purchaser of shirts and briefcases alike, has a series of questions. Thank you, Greg. What is your favorite WrestleMania build-up? 32! That's my answer. This is the greatest WrestleMania... No. Okay. This is a horrible build-up. 17. People praise 17 over and over and over again, but with good reason. It was so well produced, so well executed, and so well built up. Every match on that show had some sort of, even if it was a week or two build, had some sort of story to it, and it was just so well done. 17 was awesome. Who do you think will get a post-WrestleMania push? who do I think or who do I want? Because who I want is people like Damian Sandow, Fandango, and the guys you don't see on TV much anymore. Who do I think will get a push to post-WrestleMania? I personally think they're going to really stick with Roman and Dean and really try to send them over the moon. What is the most underrated WrestleMania match of all time? Underrated. Well, this is going to surprise people, probably piss people off when I say something like this, because I pissed people off with my last WrestleMania match question, but I'll get to that in the next one. The underrated match I think of is the match I saw live, and that was the original Triangle Ladder match between Edge Christian and Hardy and Dudley. And I say it's underrated now because TLC and TLC 2 and then TLC 3 on SmackDown with Benoit and Jericho involved as well kind of overshadowed that original outing between the three teams at WrestleMania. And that match that I saw in Anaheim was just unbelievably good. It was so well done from start to finish, and it doesn't get near the credit that the later TLC matches do. And as far as overrated WrestleMania match of all time, Greg, I'm not going to say Savage Steamboat because I got people pissed at me for that one. It is a great match. I didn't say it wasn't a great match. I just said it wasn't as good as I think people make it out to be because of the circumstances that surrounded it. But it's still a very solid, very great match between two of the best of all time. The most overrated match of all time in WrestleMania history has to be Hogan Andre. Or Hogan Rock, and I'll tell you why. It was said on, I think it was on The Rock's most recent DVD release. If you sit there and pause, and then turn the sound down on both Hogan Andre and Hogan Rock from WrestleMania, and you watch it just with the announcers, or even just without the announcers and without crowd noise, horrible. But because of the emotion behind both those matches, they get built up to something that they're just plain not. Okay, there you go. King 12 String, blah, on Twitter. Give me 5 non-world champions that you think are worthy of a WWE Hall of Fame induction. Dynamite Kid, and people are going to say, oh, well, Dynamite's bitter, and he won't accept the Hall of Fame, he won't do this. I think Dynamite deserves it on his own for his accomplishments as a junior heavyweight, his accomplishments of the style he brought to pro wrestling, sports entertainment, what you want to call it. He defined a style that was later adopted by people like Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho and people like that who really made it their own. And Dynamite has to get massive credit for that. Davey Boy Smith also deserves to be in the Hall of Fame for both the British Bulldogs tag team and his accomplishments as a singles wrestler, Intercontinental Champion, European Champion, Hardcore Champion, WCW Main Eventer. Main event SummerSlam 92 with Brett. Had a great feud with Shawn Michaels a couple different times. And Davey Boy definitely deserves it. The Honky Tonk Man. I have said this since 2009, I believe, when Coco Beware got inducted. The guy inducting Coco Beware, the Honky Tonk Man, deserved it leaps and bounds more than Coco himself. And I still stand by that. The Honky Tonk Man is still the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Regardless of how he got it done, he got it done. He won by disqualification. He lost by disqualification. He lost by countout. But that's what heels do. That's what bad guys do as champion. They lose but retain their championship. And Honky was one of, if not the best, during that era of heel champions. And Honky definitely deserves his spot in the Hall of Fame. Owen Hart. People will say, his widow won't allow that. And you're right, she won't. But a guy can dream. And they asked me for 500 world champions. Owen never won the world title. He won everything else. Intercontinental, European, tag team. You know, he was a junior heavyweight champion elsewhere besides WWE. He was great. Owen was one of the best, if not the best, to never win the world championship. But I feel the best overall to never win the world championship, and that's still not in the Hall of Fame to this day, is Ravishing Rick Rude. Rick Rude is one of those guys where you either really, really liked him as a competitor and as a bad guy and really got into him, or you're like a couple friends of mine that did not understand the draw to him at all. I personally love Rick. I think he was a tremendous bad guy. He was so solid in the ring, and he just knew how to instantly piss the world off and get everybody and their mother so ravenous at him, ravenous at the Ravishing one, that they wanted to pay money to see him get his ass kicked. And that's what a heel is supposed to be. He's supposed to be the guy that goes out and sells the tickets for the show. So they want to see the babyface beat him up, and Rude did that better than almost anybody. Let's see what we got here. Let me just take a look here. Alright. Let's see. This is from Bad News Macam on Twitter. How successful can Austin Aries become in WWE? That is a good question, Bad News. I would personally love to sing the praises of Austin Aries and say that he's going to be the next great WWE or NXT superstar. And he probably will, but it has to be something they develop slowly. It's going to start with Corbin at Dallas at TakeOver, and I think that if they have a solid match, if they have a great match, and Aries is put over the right way, then he can go on to maybe down the line face Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship. Maybe if the SummerSlam weekend takeover, which would be fucking awesome to see Samoa Joe and Austin Aries rekindle their Ring of Honor battles. That'd be unbelievably good. All right, we will see you guys next week with more Talk Wrestling. Until then, see you around.